Welcome to the All That Chazz Stress Relief Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. It's Robert Chute, and I am so glad to finally get to this podcast this week. I have had the busiest week I have ever had, personally and professionally, and I have so much to talk to you about, so much to share, but we're not going to do it all today, but we're going to hit some really important highlights, and I'm going to have a podcast recommendation for you. I'm going to share a few ideas with you that are really going to help you with stress management. Today's podcast is brought to you by my book, Do the Thing, about stress management, time management, pain management, and boosting your energy. And I also have my first Patreon patron. And that person is RF Casey. Now, a funny thing about RF, we are friends on Facebook, and dude, thank you so much for being the first to get the ball rolling. I do want to get lots of patrons so I can do this podcast more often and go deeper and have guests and all that sort of thing. But got to pay for bandwidth. Anyway, I said to RF, because he qualified to get not only a name check, but also I said, thanks for your support on Patreon. Anything you'd like me to mention besides your name, your animal husbandry biz, perhaps, or how you'll kill a man for the cost of a case of beer, let me know what you need. And his reply was, me and my euchre partners once balanced on the head of a pin, but we were drunk, so I don't think it counts. Okay, thank you. I don't know what that means, but I really do appreciate the support. And now I need to talk to you. I'm going to be really pithy today because your time is important. So we're going to hit the highlights. My first point I need to check in with you with is, are you sick? Because I had acute sickness for quite a while recently. I got the flu before Christmas, and I had a series of unfortunate events where my eardrum popped on my way to Cuba. Just after I got over the flu, I had an ear infection. I had all kinds of problems. It's all behind me. I have to tell you, I feel fantastic. But the first thing I need to check in with you about is, are you ill? And if you're not ill, are you well? This is a distinction that that has come home to me so hard in the last couple weeks, because I've made some major dietary changes, some major changes in my life that have just totally changed everything. I feel so much better, so much more energetic. I can feel the energy pulsing through me like I haven't had in years, and I don't want to. I don't want to keep it to myself. I'll tell you what's going on, and it may or may not be for you. It's don't worry, it's not a cult, and you don't have to go through any sort of testing. It's just the reason I bring it up first is that I didn't realize how shitty I felt all the time. That's the only word for it. I really felt bad all the time, and now I don't. And now that I am out of it, I really feel the difference. I think I've said to you about meditation before, how you don't feel yourself going into the meditative state. You feel yourself coming out of it. It's like, oh, I feel the difference in when I get out of the space between the words. The space between the words, I think, is one of Deepak Chopra's ways to describe meditation, and where you have that kind of no-mind thing going on. And I really feel well, and I didn't understand how bad I felt until I felt truly well. And I'm just getting better and better every day. It's going great. I've got momentum going. And I'll tell you about that in just a second, little teaser. First, the next thing I want to ask you is, to consider new ideas and do research and think about how are you maybe brainwashed, or how are we all, we're all soaking in it, right? We have this culture where we have these common assumptions of how things are and how we operate. And this was brought home to me very clearly when I had a client this week who came in very high spike heels, and she asked me about pains that she was having, and my first thought, because your center of gravity goes so far forward, and it shortens your Achilles tendons when you wear high heels. It makes your calves tense up. That's why people like it, because it makes your calves tense up. It emphasizes the musculature of the calves. It's visually looks fantastic. And I think I touched on this in Do the Thing, actually, but I want to revisit it here because I have a larger metaphor I'm working my way to really quickly, I promise. There's a lot that we consider normal, okay? And high heels is one of those things that we consider normal. And people like them, and that's great for them. That if that's you, you do you. However, from a biomechanical perspective, we are all having a conversation with gravity. And when you are on an unstable platform that challenges you so much, you're going to have shortened Achilles tendons over time. You're going to have shortened calf muscles over time. Other muscles all the way up your spine are going to contract because you're now arguing with gravity. You're not in a conversation with gravity. You're arguing with gravity. And I mention this because I really think we need to reevaluate all the things that we consider normal. And if you think that high heels are normal, it's just because you wear them or you like them or you see them everywhere, or it just feels normal because of its ubiquity. But if you put most guys in high heels for the first time, and they look like they're a giraffe on roller skates, and you realize that those aren't shoes, those are torture devices, possibly constructed by men who hate women. So, I forget where I stole that joke from. However, this brings me to the larger metaphor, and that is what's normal when you go to the grocery store. Now, over the past couple of weeks, I've been making some major dietary changes, and I've been eating non-processed food. I have been eating protein in the form of meat. I just had, after having a bout of intermittent fasting since last night, it's now 3:30 in the afternoon, and about 3, I had a huge plate of mussels, and I had a green smoothie with a purple kale that was really bright and colorful, and organic and local, because I went to the farmer's market today. I'd never seen kale like it, so I thought, if it's weird and it's colorful, it's probably good to eat. More nutrients in it. So when I walk around the grocery store now, I can already feel, after just, it's been like a week and a half, maybe a little bit more, since I have started to make these dietary changes. And now the grocery store is not normal anymore. I totally understand how if you go deep into paleo or ketogenic or deep into CrossFit or deep into some kind of niche, very demanding vegan where you only eat root vegetables that don't cast a shadow, all those. It can be kind of cultish, how it can be. It's very easy to be seen as a douchebag when you're so excited about something that is so small and of narrow understanding, or of narrow. Most people don't care about this stuff, or don't think they do, or they don't realize the potential that is there. Now, the problem is that people get into camps, right? It's do you go paleo or ketogenic or pure paleo or modified paleo? And there's subreddits where everybody's arguing with each other. I think what we can pretty much all agree on is eat more vegetables. And even if you're eating meat, if you're eating healthily, I mean, there's lots of things to argue about that. Like if you believe in just eating vegetables alone, then fine. But whether you are a meat eater or not, even the healthy meat eaters are saying, but we eat a lot of vegetables. We have to eat a lot of vegetables. Vegetables are very important. So on the diet that I'm on, I'm still eating twice as many vegetables as I do meat, and I'm eating many more vegetables than I was before I made these major changes. Now, at the beginning of the year, I have committed to do the thing. When I wrote the book, Do the Thing, I thought, okay, I'm not into New Year's resolutions particularly, but my goal for 2017 is to live up to all the advice that I give out in Do the Thing. So I wrote the book, and I thought, okay, now I have a record. I have to give accountability. I have to live up to this book. And I initially started where I was just eating a lot of classically healthy food, a lot of vegetables, and because I wanted to lose weight. And the truth was, I was not moving the needle. It got frustrating because I weighed myself once a week, and despite what I was doing, maybe I don't think I was as deeply into it as I should have been. And I didn't have a strategy. I just thought, okay, I'll eat healthier. But I didn't go deep on how I was going to accomplish that and really plan better. And I thought, okay, I need a template. I need a nutritional template where I can plan and I get help and I have some accountability. And I have an accountability partner in my friend Peter. And that has really helped as far as making better choices. But neither of us had moved the needle as far as getting weight down yet. And then I changed everything. I switched to a fresh template where I was eating meat. And I lost 5 pounds in 3 days, in the first 3 days. I don't know what I've lost lately, but I can tell you that I had to go out and buy a smaller belt today already. My body composition is changing. It's only been a week and a half, and I feel fantastic. I feel energized. And I'm talking about, this is where you really want to go to, I had to wait 13 minutes to find out what he was talking about. Sorry. But I wanted to tell you that now when I go to the grocery store, everything looks like poison, except for where it's green and where I'm going through the butcher and the seafood. I switched to the wild diet. The wild diet was created or put together, maybe is a better word, by a really engaging guy who's known as the Fat Burning Man, and his name is Abel James, and he has incredibly sexy voice, and he has a fabulous podcast called The Fat Burning Man. I do recommend it, and that is your podcast recommendation this week. He does interviews with a lot of people, and a lot of times those guests are very talkative, and they don't let him really get a word in edgewise, and you hear him say, yes. So I would also recommend his book, The Wild Diet. I bought his program. It was like $27, and it was packed full of information and shopping lists, and it basically, if I had to sum it up, and this is pretty much how Abel sums it up. I don't have the book in front of me, but I'll give you the bullet in one sentence. It is no grains, no sugar, no processed foods. Now, there are variations in there in that you can get sugar from fruit because it has fiber, which slows the insulin release, and it gets technical, but not too technical. I really appreciated that about the book, actually. This is something that I did with Do the Thing as well, is I didn't set out to scare anybody. Like most stress management books start off with, here's the 87 reasons why you want to be reading my book about stress management because it's incredibly dangerous, blah, blah, blah. I did not get into any of that. I said, if you want to look up the scary factors about what happens if you're overstressed and overtaxed, neurologically, then or physically or mentally. Then all that stuff is Googleable and easy online. And my point was, you're already reading a stress management book. I've already got you. I know you're interested in it. I don't need to scare you. Let's just get on to tools, tips, tricks about stress, pain, energy, and time. Basically, about life. So that was kind of what Abel James did. He wrote a book that is very much to the point and has lots of great information in it, great recipes. I've tried a few of them already, and it was very successful. I can't say enough good things about this. I've been on a bunch of diets before. I've lost a lot of weight and gained it back, and now I feel like I'm not on a diet. I'm on a nutritional plan, but I really can't call it a diet because I don't feel deprived. I changed a lot of my attitudes around food very, very quickly. I feel sharper and more energetic than I have probably in years. And this week we had a very unusual bit of weather in Canada. Thank you, climate change. So we actually had a record-breaking temperature for this time of year of 19 degrees one day. It was sunny, and I went out in the sunshine, and I went for a 2-hour hike. And then I worked that night at a clinic, and I work when I'm working at the clinic as a massage therapist, I sweat. Like, I work hard. This is a very engaged session where I work for a living. And normally I am a little bit scared about putting out too much energy early in the day if I know I'm going to work late in the day, because I want to have the energy to do my best work. And that day I went for a 2-hour hike, and I was fine. I felt fantastic. As I said, I had one of my busiest weeks, actually my busiest week that I can remember ever this week. And there was one day where I treated a whole whack of patients in one day. It was a crazy day. And it was very intense. It was almost all new patients. I had one repeat and everybody else was new. So new patients take more energy. And I felt so fantastic at the end of that day. I felt, tired, but in a good way, like after a good workout. I came home and then I worked for another hour on something else. And normally, and my old way of living, where I was self-medicating with a whole lot of sugar and caffeine and all that stuff, and eating unhealthily and stressed out about all the work that I was doing, I would come home and struggle up the steps like a wounded animal, and I'd feel like crap. And this week, after consistent days of incredibly heavy work, I came out the other end of it feeling fantastic. And I've slept better since I've been on most nights. I've slept better. I do have a sleeping disorder that I am working on, and I've found some new tips on that, which I'll share in a future podcast. But even last night, I slept for 3 hours. We had a thing where we had to get our kids to Toronto. We had to get up super early in the morning. We were working super late at night. It was one of those weird scheduling things that didn't work out right. And I haven't had a nap. I don't need a nap. I feel fantastic. I should have gotten more sleep last night, but my whole day was not ruined because I didn't get enough sleep. In fact, I worked this morning at the clinic, and then I ran all over town taking care of errands, and I'm still wide awake. Instead of crawling into bed and having a long nap, I feel great. And I'm not saying that this diet is for anybody in particular. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but I can tell you that it's certainly working for me, and you may want to consider it. And Abel James does say right off the top, there's a bunch of things in there that you may not expect as far as his recommendations go, that may surprise you, that may be outside of what you would consider normal dietary advice. And my conception of what's normal has changed. This is why I gave you that long and involved and possibly tangential metaphor about high heels. But there's a lot that we take for granted. For years and years, we were told that low fat and carbs are the way to go. We got those 100 calorie packs of chips that never satisfied anybody, and you wanted to have 12 or more. And with that dietary approach, we just got fatter through the decades and got less healthy through the decades. We got away from the real food that our grandparents ate, where our grandparents in the 40s and 50s, great-grandparents, they're all thinner than we are. And on the whole, their body composition was healthier. Maybe they died of polio, but they had less incidence of a lot of the lifestyle and metabolic diseases that we have now. So I really am enthusiastic about this program, and I want you to check it out. Check out the Fat Burning Man podcast. Check out the Wild Diet book. And that's about all I have to say about that for now, but I'm sure that I will revisit this because you are deputized as my accountability partner and will keep me on track. So I'll be reporting back to you about my progress because I've really just started this thing. It's I've devoured the information, and I really enjoy feasting on food that has more fat and more protein and more vegetables, but much less sugar, almost no sugar. Nothing out of a box. I've had feta cheese. I guess that came in a container, but not a box. Just flushed out all the chemicals. I love bread and toast and all that stuff, but I've decided that I can do without it. Health is more important, and this is just so exciting to find something at this stage, because I've tried a bunch of stuff before that really hadn't worked. Not long-term, nothing long-term. And this is not long-term, right? But it feels so sustainable because when you do something that feels good, it perpetuates itself. I don't feel the need to self-medicate with, I've got to go back to the clinic and I'm low on energy and I have so much work to do, so I have to go get myself a skinny vanilla latte grande at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because I won't be home till 10. And I started the day at 8. I do work a lot of long days, and now I finally have the energy for it because I have 4 jobs, but I'm doing them all better and with more energy, and I'm happier. And that's the ball game right there, isn't it? So there was one other topic I wanted to cover today because I got this podcast out a little late, and it's really about drinking water because I've been addicted to diet soda, and there's some information that I got out of the Wild Diet book that it finally made sense to me why I shouldn't be having diet soda, because a lot of times people will say don't drink soda, and there's 27 teaspoons of sugar in a can of Coke or something like that. You'd never put 27 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee. That would be crazy. But in a Coke, you go, oh, it's sweet, it's cold, it's summertime, it feels great, and bring on the diabetes. We don't need sugar. And if you do have sugar and you love it, then please have less of it. It's nothing is all or nothing. Okay. But about water, I have been drinking water with lemon and lime in it, and that's been awesome. Because I've had more energy, I can exercise more, and when you exercise more, water is suddenly delicious. When you create that, when you do work that is physically laborious in some way, when you drink that water, it is such a relief to get it. It tastes better. And I think that was part of the problem, was I felt so such crap every day that I never had created that need where I could enjoy water because I wasn't expending enough energy. I didn't have the energy to give. I didn't have anything extra to give. And, when you go to the gym and you work out, or when you go for a long walk, and whatever your workout of choice is, when you expend that energy and you have that drink of water, it suddenly has taste, and you savor it and you enjoy it more, and it's fantastic. So I know there has been a lot of debate about, should you be drinking water preemptively? I'll say that. So the idea was always, for a long time, was if you wait until you're thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. Panic time. And then the counter science to that came out, and it was, no, just listen to your body. Drink when you need to. You don't need to overhydrate. There is such a thing as drinking too much water. You can actually get high if you drink too much water. I did it once, and by accident. And long story, a colonoscopy was involved. You flushed the system, and when you deplete your electrolytes, you can really feel like you're drunk. And I did, because I wanted to make sure that my doctor got good pictures. Long story short, I'm fine. It turned out okay. This was a long time ago. Long story, I'll tell another time, maybe. But in any case, I know there's the people who I'm not sure that the science. There's not a consensus yet as far as, should I be drinking? I have a client who was constantly watching the color of his urine to make sure that it wasn't yellow. So if it wasn't yellow, then he knew that he was hydrated enough. And if it got a little bit yellow, then he had to be drinking right away. Certainly if you have any red in your urine, then see your doctor right away. But don't be overly concerned about this stuff. Like I always say, don't take health advice from a podcaster. But I think here's some advice that I can say with confidence. And that is this. Drink water instead of so much else that is so bad for you that you know already. I mean, that soda filled with sugar is bad for you. I'm now convinced that there are good reasons to say with certainty that diet soda is bad for you. And some people would say, way behind the curve on that. Well, those people weren't addicted to diet soda because I just loved it. When I was in the grocery store today, the other day, I saw something I'd never seen before. It was like a Coke Zero, but it was cherry flavored. And I thought, that sounds like it would taste so good. Oh yeah, but I don't do that anymore. I drink water with lemon and lime in it. And I do drink a lot of coffee, but with real cream and with coconut oil. And I love that. So if you want to check out all that stuff about the nutrition, read The Wild Diet, check out The Fat Burning Man on the internet, and tell me what you think. See if try it out, and then tell me what you think. As I don't want to get into an argument with my friend who's a vegan who says, "Well, what you're talking about eating organ meats?" Well, it's a little bit paleo. It's kind of paleo. But he doesn't really call it that. I won't get into it. You check it out for yourself and see what you think. But I can tell you that I'm a fan of Abel James now, and I can already see the results. That's the really cool thing, is I can already see and feel the results. So I think I have used my time. I'm coming up on 30 minutes. That's a little bit longer than I usually do for a podcast, but I really had so much boundless energy. I often, these days, I feel like I have to self-regulate a bit more, where people are expecting me to be a little bit more low-key, and I have to pull my energy back so I don't scare anybody away. So I hope I haven't scared you away. If you are interested and want to support the podcast, please go to my Patreon page. You'll see a donate button that says Become a Patron at allthatchazz.com. Chazz with 2 Zs, 2 Zs if you're nasty. And you can check out all my books. I write fiction, science fiction, crime thrillers, horror, a little bit of new adult fantasy with end of the world stuff coming on. Check it all out. And if you don't go for fiction and you're just here for the stress management that is nonfiction, then I have Do the Thing. And you can find that on Amazon. You can read it in paperback or ebook. My name is Robert Chute, Chute. And you've been listening to the All That Chazz Stress Relief Podcast. Thank you for listening this week. I hope you enjoyed my enthusiasm as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, because, man, I feel good. The Fabu music that you're listening to right now is called Floating Cities, and that's by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thank you for the royalty-free music, Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. You'll find the music credit in the show notes at allthatchazz.com.